So we've been discussing lists, which we said basically is a way to collect information and it's like a set, right? Something like a set what we saw in maths, but a bit more than a set, isn't it? List, because
that's right. Because in a list you actually collect them usually one after the other. Right? So there is some order also.
Some sequence. And but we are not using it. I mean, when we did this iterator for each element of a list, and then we did something, we are not depending on the order, right? We can.
Yeah, usually all we are making sure is that that for each actually looks at every element once and exactly once, so there is no duplicate, nothing is left out. But it doesn't really matter to us in most of them whether we are looking at it in one sequence or another sequence.
So there are situations where we may need to look at the order. Like for example, if I have a set of cards which I have kept, I want to check whether or not the thing is in increasing order of maths marks, let us say.
Yeah.
So I make a list. Ideally I could make a list of all the maths marks. Now if I make the list of maths marks, how do I check? Is it easy for me to check with the iterator we have defined so far?
Okay, so you will pick up the first element. So for each x in the list, so you will pick up the first card, and now you want to pick up the second
card.
But the second card, the only way we can normally do it is do another for each. But then that will start off another iterator, which we don't want, right?
Or I want to keep, or maybe I keep, or I keep when I do for iterator, I keep the last thing as I have seen somewhere.
So I have to remember the first card, but I only want to look at the second card. I don't want to look at the third card yet, right?
So
I want to look whether the first card is in.
So when I am doing for each, I can keep one card called the previous card or something.
Yeah.
Initially, I don't know what you'll keep here. Yeah, it's difficult. It looks very complicated.
This in order. Let's see what it means. Right. It means that if I look at any two numbers in that list, if I have a list of the maths marks.
Yeah.
If I look at any two numbers which are next to each other, the first one must be smaller than the second.
Second one.
So that's really what we are trying to do.
Correct.
So we are trying to see if the first one is less than the second one, less than or equal to, because they could be same also.
Correct.
Second is less than or equal
to the third one.
So when I look at the first one, I need to compare it to the second one.
Similarly, second one with
then
third
I have to look at the second one, compare it to the
third one.
So at each point, I need to have the first element of the list, and then I have.
So actually, if we could do something very simple with the list, can I take out the first element of the list and then it's a smaller list is left?
Yeah, so I can take out the first and keep it and say I have. So I mean, in practice, it will be like I pull the
first card and keep it aside.
And then I have the
rest of the card. Right?
Yeah. So now I can check is 42 less
than very easy to do that.
Right?
Yeah.
And now if this is okay, then I can proceed with this list. I mean, the first part has been checked. I just need to do the rest. So I can do the same thing. I can check if this is less. So let us not invert. So I'll keep it like this so that it doesn't. So now I want to
take out this again.
If this is less than the first of the rest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the rest of the cards.
Yeah. So what do I need? I need an operation that will
bring out the first element.
Not only look at the first element of the list. It should not just look at the first element of the list.
Yeah. It should copy out the first element.
Take it out.
Take it out and store it somewhere. And also give me a way to keep the rest of the list and store it somewhere.
Rest of the list. After taking out the first element. What is the rest?
Yes. So I have to take out the first, take out the rest and compare this first with the first
element of the rest. So I need a first and a
rest, something like that.
Something like remaining rest, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Shall we try it for this to see whether this is in? I mean, we can go a little bit for one or few cards we can do.
Yeah. So what we can do is maybe we can write a table like this, right? So
we'll first have a list. Should we make a list first?
Well, we'll discover the list as we go along. Okay. But what we have at every point is we have the first, right?
Yeah.
And we have in some sense the rest. But we won't know the rest, we will only know it up to some. So initially we pull out the first element.
First is 42.
So first is 42.
And the rest is some list which starts with 44.
Is some 44.
Then dot, comma, dot something. Okay, we don't know yet. Okay.
So now maybe I should write this in blue. So this is 42.
Yeah.
Right?
Now we compare 42, which is the first.
Yeah. So we want to check whether this is less than or equal to
first of the list, and this is the first of the rest of the list.
Yeah. So maybe we should write a separate thing here, which is first of rest. I just write it like that.
Okay. And that is 44.
Which is 44, right?
Yeah.
And we say yes, this is good.
So far 42 is less than or equal to 44. So we are good, we are doing well. Okay.
So now we can move out the 44.
Now I remove 44, which is the first of
Yeah, so
this list. Now, what are we
now
got
I am
now?
looking at this list.
That list, yeah. So this is the first of first of that list.
And the rest starts.
And the rest starts with 52 and some other elements are there. We have not seen it.
So the first of the rest is
52. And 44 is less than equal to 52. So we are good.
Now we are checking this. So this is
So we are good. So now I again do the same thing.
Yeah.
I take out the first.
So I get 52
I get 52,
and 56.
56 and something.
And
And again this is also good. So then I take out 56.
57 and something.
57 and something. This also is good.
Okay.
So far it's good. I mean, it looks like it's okay. 57 and 62 and something.
Okay. So this is good.
This also is good. Now we got
So
equal.
now we have an equal to.
Ah.
So that's also
That's also right.
because
That's
less
all right.
than
Yeah.
equal to. is good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
This is fine. 63 and
62
something.
And we have 63 and something. So again, we can say this is good. And now we have a problem. Somebody has not been careful. So 63, but the rest of the list starts with 62. So we should have
first
actually been doing this.
keep it right.
simultaneously. So the first of the rest at each of the points. So what we are really comparing is the first that we have now and the first of the rest.
Yeah.
So 656, 57. So in this thing it's actually very easy because it's what we can see. We can't see the rest anyway. So that's how we should think about a list actually. We can see the first element and then the rest is kind of suppressed.
Of course, we keep doing this till when do we do it?
Yeah. So
Till
now,
we reach. I mean, we can keep doing this. Of course, in this case, we found something and we stopped here. But assume for a moment that it was correct.
Yeah.
Then we move forward like this. We keep going. Where do we stop? We'll stop. Eventually, you will hit.
Yeah.
You will reach this situation. You will have one left here.
Yeah. So now if I take the first of that list,
Now, if I take the first of this list, I have nothing.
nothing. So the rest will become nothing. And then I can't take first of an empty list. So I'll have to say check whether the length is at
So I
least
should
one.
stop at least one.
Yeah.
So I should stop here.
Yeah. So if I have at least one element in the list, it makes sense to ask what is the first element. And the rest may be empty if it's only one. If it is
So when you reach this situation where you have this one and you are comparing it with this list, the rest is got one element. This time you stop.
yeah, so we should stop. So this is a iteration which goes on until either the list is empty or it depends on how we are doing it. But I suppose if we are putting it in a loop, we will keep updating the list to be the rest of the list. So at some point the list will become empty because the rest is empty. Then I will stop.
So you will have a kind of a while loop, some
Yeah.
kind of a while loop,
Yeah.
which will check for the
Correct.
something like that, right? You need a while loop which will check whether the rest of the list
so while
is
the list has got at least one
element. While the list has got at least one element, take out the first
take
element.
out the first element, take out the first of the rest, compare
At
these
least then it has to have at least two elements.
Yeah, then it has to have at least two elements. Okay, so maybe we should stop with
When it has two,
yeah,
not I mean you have to do two and then stop.
yeah,
When it becomes one, it stops. There is nothing to do. When the list has one element, you stop.
correct. Because then there is no
Nothing further to do.
another way of thinking about it.
As long as the list, has at least two elements, continue to do the following, which is take out the first, and then assign the rest to whatever list variable you have. Take out the first of that, and then compare the two things and see whether you're okay. Right? That seems to be what we're doing. Okay,
of course,
so
if you have only one element, then there is no question of asking whether it is in order or not, because every order only makes sense if you have two
elements.
So it's
Two
always if I have only one student in the class, the
Yeah.
student's marks will be in order.
correct. So we could do something similar with words also, right? Because
Yeah, we want to check some things like, so what we were checking here was something about one card and the next card. So you could also ask similar questions about
words.
words. For instance, adjectives are supposed to be connected to nouns.
Like
right?
big boy.
Big boy. So then you could ask, I think if you want to know whether this adjective is actually connected to a noun immediately or not. Is the noun far away
Or nearby.
Or is it nearby? So when is the adjective next to the noun?
Next to the
that
noun.
Could be a question which will have a similar thing. Right? So
Is there, so when you see an adjective, you want to see whether the next word is a noun.
So instead of comparing the value here we were in the marks we were comparing the number. Is this number smaller than or equal to that number? Here we are checking, is this part of speech? If this is part of speech is adjective, is the next
one a noun? You try with this?
Yeah, let's try that.
So again here what we do, we take the first one, this is the rest, the first of the rest.
Yes.
This is pronoun, this is verb, so nothing
If
to
it's
do.
not an adjective, we don't care. We
Nothing
just
to do. So we can skip. So we can keep going like this
until
till we find the adjective.
Yeah.
What we are doing really is we are keeping it here, then checking, and then like that we are doing. Okay,
So
here
now
we got an adjective.
First adjective.
So we got an adjective. This is the rest. This is the first of the rest. Preposition.
So that's not
Failed.
Not good.
Huh?
Yeah, it's very unusual. Yeah.
So adjective.
Followed
Okay.
by preposition.
Reluctant to. Okay, reluctant is an adjective. Okay, all right. Maybe because it's some kind of a phrase, huh? Something is coming. It will be a noun. Yeah, here it is. Eyes is a noun.
Ah.
But there are some qualifiers, some phrase. To open his eyes, some such thing. All right. Okay. So in this case, there was an adjective, but it was not followed by a noun.
Yeah. So we keep going.
Keep going.
Going.
Keep going.
Pronoun, verb, noun,
Keep going.
adverb.
Adverb.
Ah,
Unpleasant. Okay. Adjective. Again, preposition. All right. Adjective. Unpleasant in the calendar. So I guess something in the calendar is the noun phrase or something, right? Okay.
But anyway, it's not
Anyway,
a
it
noun,
is
so
not-
it doesn't count.
It doesn't count, so it doesn't work. So far it has not worked. So after the here adjective delicious.
Delicious.
Okay. Now it works. Delicious freedom.
Okay. So now we have the first is adjective and the first of the rest is a noun.
Ah.
So we have found one
We have found a pair of words. One example where an adjective is immediately followed by a noun.
Okay.
At least we found one. Okay. Let's see if there are any more. Of Saturday and Sunday. Okay. It was difficult. Again preposition. So it looks like maybe we should extend the rule to say either it is a this thing or a preposition. Huh? I don't know. To get into the Monday mood. All right. Okay. Of work and discipline. All right. Now let's see. He shuddered at the very thought of school. Okay.
No adjectives at all.
No. Here we get an adjective. The dismal. Okay. Dismal is an adjective.
Yeah.
Wow. Now what's going on here?
You have an adjective and another adjective. Two adjectives.
Dismal, yellow. So two adjectives for one. Okay. Maybe that's also the case. Huh?
Yeah.
So either you get an adjective and the noun following it, or you get two adjectives
Yeah.
or three adjectives or something.
Yeah, like we can say big green ball.
Correct,
So
correct. You can
have-
say that. Yeah, you can have two qualifiers no, for the noun.
Yeah.
So you can have dismal, yellow building. So adjective, adjective, noun, adjective, noun. Those are the possibilities. So dismal, we should count no both pairs in that case.
Yeah, we can.
Dismal,
modify,
yellow
yeah.
building. Little more difficult. Dismal building and yellow building basically. Dismal building, yellow building, right? The okay here we are. Adjective. Fire-eyed. Noun.
Vedanayaka. Yes.
Works.
So
Huh?
Good. So
Fire
we found
and
a few at
we
least.
found a few, at least two we found, and one in fact where there were two. His class teacher and headmaster with his thin.
Thin. Yeah.
Okay, is there a noun next? Another adjective.
Again two adjectives.
Thin, long cane.
Thin, long cane. Yeah. So
Thin cane, long cane.
good. So we see that.
So that seems to be some patterns are there.
Yeah,
Of
so
course,
it
sometimes you have preposition. It looks like you have adjective. In this one at least, there is adjective followed by some preposition is there, or adjective followed by noun, or adjective followed by another adjective followed by noun.
But in each case, basically, we have to take the first element of the list,
List.
and compare it with the first
Element of the rest of the list.
So it's a different way of iterating. We are not going one element at a time. We have to do kind of two adjacent elements at a time.
You can't do a for each something and then,
Correct.
You have to take the list and break it apart. Looks like you're breaking the list apart.
Yeah, we're kind of, we're
Tearing
separating
the
it
list.
out into, so we're taking a list.
Tearing the list, no?
Yeah, we're taking this list and we are really,
Unpacking it.
we are kind of splitting it at the first position, right?
So it became an element and a list.
Yeah, so this is the first, and this is now a list, which is the rest.
And then the rest again you can
And
take
then
out
the
the
next
first.
step we will again split this as the first and the rest and so on.
And keep doing that till?
So actually the first is like a for each. We are going through each element, but when we are examining that element, we also
have a
look
rest.
at the rest. And that we were not doing earlier when we were doing just a simple for each. Or we were looking at everything in the rest, like we were doing another for each. But that's not what we want to do. We only want to look at the beginning, just the first element. So it's best, then it's useful to have this first and rest.
To break the list, unpack the list. Okay.